Adventure time, you've got a friend. Let's go to the very special place.
Welcome to Behind the Sins, presented by CinemaSins.
Welcome to Behind the Sins, a weekly look at everything going on inside the world of CinemaSins. I'm Aaron Dicer, and I'm joined as always by Jonathan Watkins.
Hello, hello.
And Danae Hughes.
Hello.
We write for CinemaSins and TV Sins and do various other things inside the CinemaSins universe as well. And this week, we are going to be very serious and very professional. We are all ashamed of how loopy we were last week and have decided to...
I'm good, actually.
I couldn't even get through the sentence. I could not even get through the sentence. Considering just mere seconds ago, we were all clapping and doing banjos with our mouths. Exactly. So, it's going to be loopy again, I promise. How are you guys? Having a good week?
Yep. So far, yeah. It's been a really, really busy week. And you know how sometimes you feel so good at the end of the week because you've accomplished so much? Mm-hmm. That's kind of how I'm feeling.
Oh,
However,
good.
We still have the rest of the day to go. So we'll see.
Yay!
Yay!
Oh, man. We're going to kick it off this week with a little bit of bonus content. The Everything Wrong With for Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure dropped for our Sin Club members as the bonus video for September. And so we thought we would chat just a little bit about that video.
Peepers and up, right?
Yeah. I should mention that. That's for the how's the peeping?
There's different levels, and
Right.
you have to be a peeper.
How's the peeping sounded? Are they called peepers? Do we
Yeah, we call them peepers, but yeah, it's the How's the Peeping Sin Club level. And those are for our members that want the bonus videos. And so, yeah, so if you go to patreon.com/CinemaSins, you can see the different membership levels and kind of do what you want. But we did release that for our bonus video in September. I believe that script was, help me out, Chris and Barrett. Is that right?
Yes.
So it was an Atkinson share script. And man, Bill and Ted, I just watched recently, so I do have thoughts on Bill and Ted if you want to hear them.
Sure. I mean, you mean the movie, or you mean the creation of the video?
No, I was going to talk about the movie first, kind of like we do, just briefly. We're not going to get, too deep into this, but I rewatched the movie and it's really good. Like, I expected it to be more like nostalgia hold up, and there is certainly that element. But I really think the structure and the plot, the way it deals with time travel, I'm talking about the original, by the way. I don't think the second one holds up as well in those regards.
Interesting, because a lot of people like the second one.
I know
more.
A lot of people do, and that was in rewatching them all. That was my main takeaway was the first one was really fun and clever, and the second one was just kind of okay.
I'm with you. No, I think the first one's the best one.
I mean, I will say there's the a couple gay panic moments that don't hold up. Some words from that era that don't translate very well to our modern sensibility. I get all that stuff, but as far as the movie and plot and fun and jokes and structure and all that kind of stuff, I think it was good. I enjoyed it.
I think Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves are just so likable.
Yeah,
it's almost impossible not to enjoy the movie on some level. Like, I don't think it's great by any means, but it's very watchable, and it's got a lot of genuinely funny moments. It's pretty smart at times, and no, I agree. I rewatched it not too long ago.
I haven't seen it in so long. It's kind of like so far back in my mind, I don't know if I ever saw it, but I know I saw it, but I don't know that I saw it. Do you know what I mean?
Honestly, I felt the same way about Hercules, and we'll talk about that upcoming in the show. I had that exact feeling. Like, did I watch this? No, I'm sure I watched this. It's just been so long, so I totally get that.
The thing, for some reason, I always remember about Bill and Ted, though, is when the dad bites into that burnt as hell grilled cheese. That has always just like grossed me out so much.
Thank you.
Oh God. I mean, I get the whole point is supposed to be he doesn't care because he's about to hit it with his wife, but
I don't remember anything that you're talking about. I'm not sure that I've actually seen this movie. I'm like, what?
That's a very that's like a 2-second moment that probably is not what most people take away from the movie. It's just what's always stuck in my head.
Hey, I am with you. No, me too. I am totally with you. Cool. I like to think I'm a person without many triggers, but then somebody eats like burnt bread and I'm just like, no, I got triggers. I got triggers.
It's so gross. Like, how many takes did they have to do? And that poor guy.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Some people like their grilled cheese that way, though. Some people like the burnt stuff.
That's true.
It is a true thing.
It is interesting what sticks in your mind. I couldn't give you an example, but I know that there's movies that I saw really young where there's a particular sound that was made either from someone eating something, drinking something, or talking, or their mouth, like whatever, like a noise that just stuck into my brain. That stuff it's just so weird how that stuff sticks to you, and that becomes the highlight of whatever you witnessed.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But we do love being able to put these things out for you guys, especially like full on Sins video. So a lot of times, like our bonus content for our Patreon supporters or our Sin Club members are like fun extra things that we've put together for you. But this one's like a full on video.
Yeah, we do that every once in a while, and we're glad to do it. So if you're interested in checking it out, again, it is patreon.com/CinemaSins, and it is the How's the Peeping level and above. Get access to those bonus videos. Lots of other fun stuff to check out there. We certainly do appreciate our Sin Club members. You keep this train running, and we appreciate it. So go to patreon.com/CinemaSins to check it out. All right, let's get into it, guys. Let's do the SinSide Scoop.
What's he building in there?
I've got a secret. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
This is a true story.
We're going to take a look at the videos from the week, the process of sinning them, and how we felt about the stuff that we are sinning. We like to start in TV Sins land and Adventure Time, revisiting Adventure Time with Slumber Party Panic. And this is a Hughes Watkins script. Danae and Jonathan writing on this, and Danae singing on it. As I'm talking about it, because why not?
I'm just trying to do it softly so that it's not so
right.
distracting.
And here's the fun part about you doing it softly, Danae, is your processor will only pick up bits and pieces of it.
No, man, you've told me that before. Then I'm like always like, no, it's doing exactly what I think it's doing.
Yeah.
You know what?
No. You're probably right, Danae. You're probably right. But go ahead if you want to sing the song.
Probably.
Just we could. This could just be a running thing on the SinSide Scoop. Is Danae sings the theme song. So here's Danae singing Adventure Time theme song.
I'm gonna sing it the way that my husband sings it.
Okay, do it.
Adventure time, you've got a friend. Let's go to the very special place.
Is that before or after he partakes in ganja?
That is amazing. All right. The new title of the segment is Danae imitates her husband singing the theme song of whatever shows we are doing.
Is that how he sings everything, though? I hope it is.
Oh, my God. He is notorious for getting lyrics wrong, and it is one of my major pet peeves.
It's fun.
And so, yeah.
It's fun. Justin's fun.
Justin is great. However, his singing of the wrong lyrics is one of those things where and then he like realizes what he's doing and he really gives it all he's got so that he can just stick it to me.
I was laughing at more the idea that there's just like no emotion behind his singing. He's just like, Adventure Time, that's what we're gonna He's like, shake it out, baby, now, shake it out, baby, twist and shout. That's what was funny to me.
Jonathan, it almost sounded like you saying, take it out, baby, now, and that changes that entire song.
I was not doing the wrong lyrics. I said, shake it.
Oh my God.
Anyhow, speaking of this show, I think it's fun, the game we play with these animated shows where it's like, is this the kind of weird that is for me? That always seems to be the question when we're talking about these animated shows, because they're all so weird, but for some reason some of them feel like the kind of weird I want to invest in, and others I'm just like, this is too weird for me. And Adventure Time I think is on that I think it's on that side of the scale for me, where I'm just like, I'm just not interested in this. It's just a little out there for me. So I
like it. I've only seen a handful of episodes. When it used to be like, I don't know, it might still be on Cartoon Network. I don't think they're making new ones anymore, but I would just catch it every now and then. It was just always a nice, like, if it was on at night, it was an easy, 10-20 minutes to sit there and enjoy something.
Sure.
But I've never invested in it. Like, I don't know how many episodes I've seen. It's very possible I've seen the same episode 8 times. I don't even know, because they all kind of but I've always enjoyed myself with it. So yeah, I think it's funny.
I think I saw an episode and then enjoyed it a lot. I think I'm just gonna say that this is true because I think this is right. It was one where Finn and Jake are doing some kind of dungeon crawl style adventure. And of course, I'm like, oh, this is fun.
Right, yeah.
And so after that, I went back to the beginning and watched them all in order because I had seen one that was interesting to me, but I didn't watch this like as they came out. And then I watched as many as I could possibly watch because at the time I was really enjoying it. But I will say now that I have sinned it, I'm like, this isn't for me now, but probably because I just don't have time to sink into it. But there's so much about this show I really, really love. But I wrote this down in my notes. The silliness level is so perplexing to me because why would this one be one that I would choose and I wouldn't do one of the other goofy ones that, you know, like Phineas and Ferb. Why is Phineas and Ferb different for me?
Well, this
than
is more
Adventure Time?
adult for one thing. This is definitely not for kids.
It's an interesting show, and they do have like plot developments and storylines, and you know, and there's really I like the music of this one more than I like the music of Phineas and Ferb for whatever reason.
Scandal.
I know it's weird.
Scandal.
But I think it's because Phineas and Ferb, like it is like a musical style where it's like legit, full on song, blah blah blah. And
that's
on
why
Phineas
it's
and Ferb,
Preach. Go on.
which is really, really good. And now that I'm exposed to it, I really do love it. But like at the time with Adventure Time, it's just like these little sing-songy things. And I'm a sing-songy girl. I sing songy stuff all the time. And so I'm like, oh my God, this is what I do. I just make up these little songs all day long. And, you know,
You're not wrong. These chips are good would exist more in the Adventure Time universe than the Phineas and Ferb universe. Yeah.
I am the kind of person that whenever I vacuum, I match pitch to the sound of the vacuum and start making up a song. This is what I do.
Nice. I should go back and say I said this wasn't for kids. I would say young kids. I would be perfect. I think it's perfectly fine for like older kids.
Sure,
but it's not. It's definitely not like a young
Iris,
kids cartoon.
3-year-old,
there's you know pretty. It gets dark at times and it gets sexual at times. It's definitely made for more adults in mind. So
I'll transition us into the sins for the video since you guys wrote on it. I loved this video, by the way. So pretty much a replacement for Daniel Tiger, I assume. Speaking of the kids thing that we're talking about, I loved that. If we can just make kinky something this narrator says every once in a while, I'm totally down for it.
That was a fun one.
Yeah.
Didn't we work on we had something else
I don't
for
remember
that
what
one?
it was.
Yeah.
And then we just we just pared it down to be kinky, I think.
Yep. We just boiled it down to kinky, and I kind of like that.
I did a sin. It was a take on bestiality, but I don't remember what it was now. But like that was kind of like the joke, not the bestiality. I mean, just saying it was like it was some take on that word.
Sure.
Okay. More on that from Jonathan in Keeping Tabs.
No, but I think that's what the sin was about because we already had the necrophiliac, so we were like, we probably shouldn't have two weird sex things.
Yeah,
I think
that's what it
Danae
was.
suggested like let's just do kinky, and I was like, yeah, that works.
Only because I can hear some in the podcast verse saying this. It is actually bestiality, not bestiality, which has always been.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's a very weird thing that word is pronounced that way. But yeah,
I don't know if I like that.
I don't think.
I'm gonna have to.
You know what? I don't think I like either of them. You know, to be
bestiality
honest,
sounds like you're just hooking up with your best friend, which isn't necessarily wrong.
You know, man's best friend.
Unless your best friend is like your sibling.
Guys, I'm uncomfortable with the things we're saying right now. I'm totally uncomfortable, and we should move on.
Thank you, Adventure Time. Thank you.
That doesn't even make sense. The animals, they're beasts. Like, that doesn't even make sense.
I understand. I'm just telling you, it is one of those weird things.
This is your fault, Aaron.
I know.
This is your issue because you're like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do word correction right now.
It is spelled that way, yes.
Oh, God, that's right.
Yep.
This is how little I know about it, which is good.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. What does it say about me that I know how to pronounce it perfectly? What does it say about me?
I think we should move on before we explore that.
And then eventually Negan and everyone will start losing interest. Really made me laugh. The comparison to The Walking Dead, I loved. What is that undulating colon of darkness back there? Really made me laugh. Cannibalism, I thought was a great portmanteau. Really enjoyed that one. And then this candy ball with a mustache just farted to end the episode. And honestly, it might be the most normal thing that happened the entire time.
Oh my God, I was so glad Danae wrote something. I knew we needed something there, but like I was just like, God, that candy just farted. I have nothing to say. Like I don't even know.
And that is the sin. And that's the sin.
I know. It's like, but I didn't know what to do with it because it was just so ridiculous. And it's so funny because he just like squeezed, like, don't squeeze me, I'll fart. I mean, it's very funny.
Jonathan, you're like, oh God, the game just fired.
Well, it was one of those moments where I'm like, I know we have to have a sin, but I can't think of one.
While we're letting Danae recover, Jonathan, what are some of the other ones you wanted to mention?
Was the Colon of Darkness, that was the one where it was just like the blurs in the background. It was like, why didn't they just go ahead and draw more candy, right?
Yeah, obviously it's meant to be like a crowd of people, but it only lasts for that scene and then like the scene maybe right after it, but then they're all gone. And that room is really small. And so it's like, if there's a crowd of people, this entire room would be filled. So what is the point of this? I mean, I know what it is meant to be watching the cartoon, but it doesn't make sense once you really start to think about it.
Yeah. No, I thought that was really funny. I liked the way Aaron read many dead animals for a fur pile. Adventure Time of Darkness was funny. And then the Is This an Eternal Flame, I thought was also just a great, like, a question to put on an end of a sin. And I liked that I got a Team Umizoomi outtake in there.
Nice.
My daughter actually really appreciated that because that was one of her favorite shows. And she used to say Mighty Math Powers when she was a little kid. I mean, she's still a little kid, but when she was a really little kid,
you know,
she'd go, Mighty Math Powers.
There's an untapped universe for TV sins in little children shows. Like, we've never gone there, and I'd be interested because there's a huge nostalgia factor there. No, SpongeBob is tween. SpongeBob's a tweener show.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking,
so you're saying
like
we haven't done like you're
Daniel
saying like
Tiger.
Dora.
Yeah,
Dora,
like Daniel Tiger, or the Backyardigans, or, you know, stuff like that. I think there's some untapped potential there because kids who watch those shows as 5, 6-year-olds are now watching CinemaSins and TV Sins. So
and parents that had
to sit
watch
through
those
them,
shows with their
as
kids.
well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
To that point, my husband, we watch a lot of Daniel Tiger, and he, without trying to do like this part of the job, he just keeps this running tab in his head of things he's got questions about with the show. They're really, really funny.
It's nice.
And so he told me the other day, he's like, are you guys ever going to send Daniel Tiger? And I'm like, I don't know. And he said, well, if you do, I'm ready.
My wife and I, because my
Coach.
daughter hasn't watched that type of show since she was like 5 or 6, so it's been a good 3 or 4 years. My wife and I still sing songs from Bubble Guppies.
Yeah,
like we saw them so many times. Like we still have those songs in our
The
head,
Wiggles.
I'm in that zone with Iris.
Yeah.
PJ Masks, Nature Cat, Bubble Guppies she just found, Daniel Tiger, and what's the one on Amazon Prime that we love so much? I've talked about it before with Finn the Fox.
Now the music in Bubble Guppies is kind of like Phineas and Ferb, though. Like it's actually produced and it's it's actually kind of good.
Yeah, that's how Backyardigans was too. Backyardigans had great music too.
Wiggles, though, we were the newer group. I'm sure you were the older group, probably.
Yeah,
we had the female Wiggle.
I'm just saying Tumbleleaf.
Sorry.
I'm just saying those shows could be a real interesting avenue for us to explore. Danae, what did you think with the sins on this one?
Well, I did want to just do a shout out on the Walking Dead sin. I love because Jonathan did a great thing since I was doing the combine on this one and the lead writer. He makes notes so that I understand what it's referencing. Otherwise, I would totally space it. So I really appreciate that because then I don't want to cut something that I don't understand. And I'm usually good at just about like highlighting, be like, is this an inside joke or is this a reference? I'm not sure what this means. So that was it. I liked grabbing your friends by the face with your asshole. That was one of my favorite ones. The not pictured ding dongs cracked me up. And then the run on the pinatas being sentient. Why would you ever smash them? Just that whole like series of just the idea like, are we eating each other? Are we killing each other? Like, what are we doing here, candy people? And then being able to play that Chicken Little outtake for the run for your life. It worked out perfectly. So that was I really liked writing on this one a lot.
Behind the scenes, I think I did 4 different takes of the Manfred sin because I wasn't sure how to pronounce it. And so I did like Manfried, like Manfred. Manfred. Yeah, like
my bad.
No.
Speaking of me being the lead writer, oopsie.
Well, no, sometimes something seems so obvious to you that just somebody else doesn't know. I totally get that. I've done that with Jeremy before. Like,
I had to send you a pickup for one that's coming up because we forgot to tell you how to pronounce a name. So
yeah, and that's one I should have known. It's I can't even say what universe that is from without giving stuff away. But yeah, it happens.
Soon.
It happens.
Coming soon to a YouTube channel near you.
All right, let's move on to Watchmen, the pilot of Watchmen. It's summer and we're running out of ice, which is a famous line from the musical Oklahoma, in case you didn't know. This is a Dicer Watkins script, Jonathan and I writing on this. And boy, this is a doozy to tackle because this show is one of the most intricately plotted, intricately designed shows ever. And what Damon Lindelof... I
also had to tell Aaron, I had to go, no, we cannot take off all the sins. No.
That's right. This is that one for me. I'm just like, no, this one should end in negative sins. This should be the one.
He's like crying. Why are you setting this, Jonathan? This is my favorite part.
Genuinely wondered watching this. First of all, I have no idea what's happening. It's the most confusing thing I've watched on any channel so far. So I'm like, I feel like I'm in a Tumblr.
Well, it's setting up a lot of different like mysteries and whatnot. I mean, there's so much you learn. Like, there's so much that makes like, I don't know. There's so much that you don't even understand until you watch like other episodes. So that was difficult. For me.
This was a tough one. This is a very tough one.
I picked up that it wouldn't be easy, but I also picked up that somebody really freaking loved it because you're like, I genuinely was wondering, are we going to have any sins at the end of this? You know, because you're just like, negative 100 sins.
I like it a lot, but this is kind of like me with like Shaw. Like, I like this a lot. I unlike Aaron, I don't think it's like the greatest piece of television and ever. I mean, I don't know if I'm there, but it's great. Like, I mean,
yeah, no,
I couldn't tell you anything wrong with it.
I can't. It's hard sometimes to separate recency bias from things. And I did not, when I watched it the first time, I did not put it as my favorite show of all time. But it's there now after rewatching it.
And you and Jeremy both have rewatched it. And, it touched both of you.
Yeah.
In a not weird way.
Well, sometimes in a weird way, but
watch miniality. You guys clearly were on a level with it that I'm not quite there. But it's a great show. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a perfect show. So it's excellent.
I think for me, what puts it so far out in front of almost anything else that's ever been on television is how intricately planned it was. Like, just the payoffs in this show are just astonishing. That is very appealing to me. Like, that part of my brain is probably the part that I have the most fun being activated when I'm watching something, is like, oh my goodness, look at how this all came together, kind of thing.
Yeah, it almost, they clearly did all this. I mean, it almost feels more like a miniseries.
It is. It really is.
And it really is. Because I don't think they might try to do another season down the road.
No,
but
Lindelof has said he's definitely not.
Yeah, Lindelof's not going to be involved. It's not going to be anything that happened, soon. But it definitely feels more like a miniseries. No, and it's interesting because at this point, I got to admit, I'm getting a little tired that every show has to be something that's plotted like this. Like,
sure.
I'm actually kind of getting to where I wouldn't mind just a weekly procedural like in my TV diet. But this still this was one that was an exception. Like, this one, got pretty close to blowing me away.
It has the added benefit of being fantastical and about superheroes and that kind of where like stuff is keeping your attention that way. And it's really funny because Lindelof is really funny. And so there's there's a lot of humor in it as well, amidst this incredibly poignant and relevant, historical stuff, which I'll get into more in keeping tabs.
And the cast is excellent. It's just up and down. It's really good. And I love the source material. Granted, this is kind of like a sequel to the source material, basically, but it's not based on anything that was already written. Let's put it that way.
So, Danae, you were understandably confused watching this, and I can't imagine watching this as somebody
who
were
confused watching Watchmen.
That's right. So I totally get that that feeling of this being ultimately confusing. Was there anything you saw in it like that was like a throbbing question, like you have to have answered kind of thing, or more it's just like, guys, I have no clue what's going on here, let's just talk about about the Sins video, or?
All right. Well, first, I really want you to avoid using the adjective throbbing before I think anything. That was
Well, considering
perfectly fine
there could be
adjective.
something in the outtakes. There could be something in the outtakes about you may or may not having a penis. So,
something about throbbing question. Although it does give you like exactly what, like it would be one that is obviously like you.
Sorry, I will change it. Are there any penetrating questions that you have?
Look, I was going to say though, I mean, I do have a mad crush on Regina King, so I'm not going to lie about, there might have been some throbbing. I don't know.
Could be.
I don't know.
Could be.
I'm kidding.
The answer is I have a lot of questions, but I think that based on what you guys have just talked about, I don't want to ask any of them.
Okay.
Mostly because I think it just means this sounds like it would be somebody trying to simplify a really complex story.
Yeah, definitely.
And I don't know that I want that. I think if it's something that I would enjoy or something that I should watch, I don't know that I want to just get the watered down version.
Right.
So I'm just going to follow my instinct to completely ignore your conversation for the rest of the talk.
I think we're done. I think we're ready to go into the video, which you get to start, by the way, because you didn't write on it.
I was so genuinely flabbergasted.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Flummoxed, overwhelmed. And again, it really did feel like I was just in a Tumblr trying to figure out what was going on, that I only wrote down one, which is the sin about answering the phone and not sending the troglodytes to voicemail. It was at that point, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, that was, I understand that one. I understand the word phone.
I like how
and
Aaron
troglodyte.
does the stuff like troglodytes. What did you call him when? Because I wrote the sin about him going down the driveway, but you actually added in, was it scallywag?
Snollygoster.
Snollygoster.
Yeah, somebody usually a politician, but somebody who thinks they're more important than they are.
Yes, working with Aaron is always fun on a script because he likes to flourish, and it's really fun.
Well, and to be fair, that one comes from our Discord. That was another. Hey, Aaron, can you work this into a script word? So,
oh my gosh.
So
I love that you're having that kind of fun with our Discord people. And you know what? Hey, huge shout out to Discord folks. You guys are awesome. Love popping in and seeing the conversations. And for anyone who is wanting to connect to a community of people who like talking about movies and having fun, our Discord's a great place. And we have amazing moderators who are really, really kind and are keeping kind of the gatekeepers of our community, essentially. And they do a great job. So I know right now, and it's sometimes hard to feel like there's anybody around you that you can like connect with. So if you're looking for an online community, you might have fun in the Discord.
Yeah.
They really get to the heart of the throbbing questions.
That's right.
In Discord.
Yes.
They
really
penetrate to
penetrate
the heart of, that's it. That's the right one.
Yeah.
All right, back to you guys.
Did you have it? So you just had the phone one. That was it.
It was literally Watchmen. What? Negative sins. Wow. Questions. So many. A phone. I know phone. Answering phone, troglodyte voicemail. So,
Nice. Great.
someone died. And then there's a shiny mask. I how can he breathe was a question I wrote down.
I love it. Stream of consciousness. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it was not my normal like note-taking experience. My apologies.
I think the only thing I would say, and this doesn't give anything away necessarily, but the other thing that made this show so interesting is it's based on existing material, so it's kind of a sequel. I mean, it literally is a sequel to the existing material, not to the movie, by the way, which is another piece of property in this universe.
Yeah, I actually did not clarify that, but yeah, I meant the material.
Completely feels like its own thing. You know, like it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, this is based on existing material and actually follows, down the road from this stuff, but it just feels so perfectly crafted that it's kind of its own thing. So that's one thing I do love about it. Jonathan, what are some of the sins you wanted to mention?
Not pictured pictures.
I love that. I had that written down too.
Well, that was one too. Like I couldn't get that worded right because I think Barrett finally said like, we need to probably do something different with this one. And then we just came up with that. But the Cornhusker Deniers was very funny. And that was a very popular one I noticed.
Yeah,
in the
people
comments,
appreciated
too.
that. Yeah.
What are those kids wowing about so intensely?
It's true. The whole class is just like, wow.
Yeah, it was funny.
Wow.
It's like, oh yeah, she put eggs in a bowl and made a smiley face. Tossing salad without consent was very funny. And then I just like the way Aaron read my sin about the Robert Redford movies that everybody missed out on.
I had that one too.
Well, they missed out on sneakers.
Yeah, I like that too.
Well, in fact, and part of that was because I was just going to list a bunch of movies, but then when I was looking at the movies that would have come out since he had been president, it wasn't great. I was like, what am I going to talk about up close and personal? You know, and it was just like, God.
Yeah, no, I love that when when what you think a sin is going to be, it actually turns out to be your thought process, and in that whole thing, it becomes something completely different. Yeah, I love that. I would also mention, just remember, outside in, front to back, you'll be fine. That's good advice. It's always good advice. I liked doing the running gag of customer service surveys. I thought that was interesting how that worked out. I have to highlight my favorite pun of the episode. This sin is for your shellfish motives, because he wouldn't clean off the octopus. And then the sin I spent the most time crafting, maybe since I did the hand job sin in Breaking Bad, was the watching Watchmen, which is watching a man watch a man watch a watch which man mended whilst man wasn't watching man watch mending.
Yeah, Aaron did that to himself.
I did.
Yes.
That was all me.
I just said, God bless.
I looked at that scene and I was like, okay, the layers of watches and men and, you know, watch mending and watchmen, and I don't know. I had to do something. So, all right. I'm trying to think. Was there any other? No, I think that was all the ones I had listed. We can move into the music video sins. Billie Eilish, My Future. And I'm just going to start by saying, I love this song. I hadn't heard it before. I listened to the song. I love how it's presented. I love that it doesn't feel, you know, like everything else that's going on right now. I love the message of this song. I love what she's saying in it. Feels valuable to me. It's very much feels like a song about putting first things first, you know, falling in love with your future. The idea of, I have to make sure I'm okay before I even invest in any of this other kind of love stuff that I'm interested in. The idea that she's honest about, there's this one verse about, I think it's referencing probably a boyfriend or a guy she's with, and it's like, I can't let you drive me home because I know where that leads, and that's not what I need in my life right now. Like, it's a really honest and I think important kind of look at understanding I have to know who I am first before I can know who I am with someone else. And like, I don't know, I found it really affecting. I really like this song.
I only heard it the one time. I wasn't really involved in this one on the editing process or anything. Like, I didn't review it. It was just Barrett. I don't remember why. I think I was just busy doing other things. But anyways, so I've only seen it the one time, and I didn't watch the actual video. But I thought it was fine. I really like Billie Eilish. This song, maybe it'll grow on me more. I definitely didn't. It didn't hit me like it hit you. I do agree the message is good though.
Yeah, I like it.
But I don't know. I don't know. It was fine. I think I prefer a lot of her other stuff over this, but that's just me.
I think Billie is a really interesting artist and role model. I think we've talked about her before.
Mm-hmm, sure.
She's just such a different style of a pop star than I've seen. And I really think that that's a needed thing. And I wonder, I don't know, she's a really, to use Aaron's word, fascinating person to me. Mostly because I wonder how it feels to have the amount of exposure and public pressures that she has had from an incredibly early age. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the ukulele player. What was her name? That was it America's Got Talent? She won America's Got Talent.
I don't know her name, but I know what you're talking about.
Here's what's popping in my mind. Grace Vanderwall.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's right. Are you freaking yourself out now?
A little bit, because I have no idea how I know that name.
Well, I think that's right. She, so Grace, again, on the stage, from a really early age, and then gains fandom. Billie is a little bit different to me in that, I don't know, she's around her family. I see her family more involved, and her way of interacting with the public is kind of more like she's standoffish and has walls up and should, whereas Grace seems more like the bubbly, open pop star girl. You know what I mean? And Billie just has this different vibe and this different energy, this kind of more darker space, I guess. Darker might seem negative. I don't know that it's negative. It's just,
I think she's just private. I think she's just,
yeah.
There are ways to keep your life private. And,
but how hard is that? I think to me, I just wonder if that speaks to, because I know her mom is always kind of around, and her brother is obviously right there with her too. So I'm curious about their life, and I'm curious about that. And I also like her singing style, even though it's really breathy, because I was always told that like from my singing style that it was like people couldn't hear it. And so to hear her sing, I'm like, see, you can just sing softly and it's fine. You know what I mean? So she's one of those first artists where I'm like, man, I really dig her sound. And I think she's incredibly talented. So she's someone I hope continues to have a safe trajectory in her fame.
Yeah, no, she's super talented. In fact, I really love that new Bond song. She's doing the song for the new Bond movie that's supposedly coming out in like a month.
We'll see.
And they just released a video for that, in fact, and I actually kind of enjoy it. I know a lot of Bond fans are complaining but I'm like, no, do something different. And it's interesting hearing like a different type of voice sing one of those songs, I like her a lot.
There is a video that I watched that I also think maybe you would enjoy. I saw it, earlier in the year. Vanity Fair has been doing a series with her. I think it's just 3 years, but it was 2017, 18, and then 19. And I think they're going to try to do it and continue to do it. And they ask her the same question, and then they kind of show her answers from previous, and she's watching her own answers. And that was a really interesting look into her mind and to see the things that are just happening to this kid. And so I would recommend that watch.
Yeah, I feel like they're coinciding that with my career at CinemaSins because Billie Eilish and I have the same career trajectory year-wise. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Yeah,
so that's interesting.
Seems like it.
It just took me 30 years to more than her. But anyways, that's fine.
Jonathan, what are some of your favorite sins from the video?
What did I loved Barrett running off of Jesus fucking cock-ass balls. I thought that was great. You should read what Barrett had to say, right?
Yeah, Barrett's got some thoughts. Let's do that.
Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to do that. Oh, gosh, I'm super prepared. I'm immediately ready to do that right now. Go me. My future is simple but beautiful. The song is great. The animation is lush, and I had a great time with it. I think we had some pretty nice sins in there, especially annihilation-based, but overall, it's very pleasant. One comment that Ashley, our editor, made was that she'd love to hear a Billie Eilish album of Christmas songs, and I could not agree harder. I forgot how... Oh, wait. Then he goes on to Hercules. I should stop reading right there because we're not talking about Hercules.
But then didn't he say something about the frog? I thought he then came back and was like...
Oh, yeah. I think if you scroll down, he does come back to something.
Because I was about to mention that. That's why I remembered him saying something.
Yeah, it was my favorite part of the video. The angry frog was my favorite part of the video for sure.
Oh, yeah. I see it. He goes, oh, yeah. That angry frog in my future pissed me the hell off. That angry fucking frog can fucking go straight to fucking hell. Oh, there it is. You guys, you do read.
Of course.
You know what I'm going to say.
I learned how to read.
Yeah. And then the only other thing I had written down was don't let Charles be in charge again.
Yep, had that one too.
Yep.
Yeah, that's most of mine, actually. In fact, it might be all of mine. Yeah, Janae, how about you? Jonathan and I apparently had the exact same ones written down.
That's funny. Well, as far as the angry frog goes, I had that one, so we'll just cross that one off. But then I also just like once the vines start crawling on your face, it's time to move away. Just the panicking over the vines. And I enjoy how Barrett delivers the script. I think it's a lot. He's very animated and enjoyable.
Totally agree. All right, let's move on to CinemaSins for the week. We will kick it off with Hercules.
Tornado nipples.
We're talking about Nutty Professor?
Yes, exactly. Yes, this is a very nipple-centric script that comes from Scott Scher. So that is a Jeremy M. Barrett script. As I had mentioned earlier when we were talking about Bill and Ted and Danae's kind of thoughts on Bill and Ted, I feel that way about this movie. I can't really remember watching it, but I know I have. I'm sure I have, but it's just been since, 97 when it came out or something?
Mm-hmm.
It must have been since then. And I was graduating from college in 97, so it wasn't necessarily right in my wheelhouse, and I wasn't yet really a movie critic, so I know I watched it at some point, but I just didn't really watch it with a critical eye or any kind of something like that.
Well, this is right at the tail end, too, of Disney when they came back,
right.
that run of films that started with Little Mermaid. This is kind of getting, you still got Mulan and Tarzan, which I believe were both pretty big hits right after this, but then you start getting into
Treasure Island,
Planet,
or Treasure Planet,
Brother Bear,
and
Atlantis or whatever. But anyways, I really like this movie. I saw it when it came out. I was actually a movie reviewer when it came out. That was during my short stint stint reviewing movies on a television show. So I actually reviewed this when it came out. And then I've seen it quite a few times since. I watched it a lot with my daughter. She really liked it. So I've seen it several times. I think it's really good. I think it's in the upper tier of Disney animated films, in my opinion.
Yeah, it seems that's kind of my memory. Yeah.
James Woods, I'm actually glad we did give a send off for James Woods, even though it's James Woods, but it is a really good, like, that's one of my favorite probably villains from any of the Disney animated films. He's a good one, even if it is James Woods voicing it. But no, I really like this movie. I think it's fun stuff.
Danae, what's your experience with Hercules?
Haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. Take a drink. So let's get into the sins then. I'll kick us off this time. Danae already mentioned tornado nipples. I would also mention nipples in a Disney movie. The narrator.
Do you also want to know what Jeremy and Barrett had to say?
No. I don't care about them.
Okay.
But yes. Let us know what Jeremy and Barrett had to say about it.
You're gonna get fired. Okay. Jeremy says, I personally think this is an overlooked gem in the 90s Disney animated catalog. Incredible songs, overall sense of joy and fun, some awesome voice performances, lazy animation, simple tornadoes, twirls for nipples, elbows, knees, etc. The mythology is so fucked up, I didn't even try writing sins about it. Hades has a master plan, but keeps sending out unreliable minions, Pain and Panic, and they always fuck up. Hades knows Herc likes Meg, but he waits until literally his last chance before using Meg to manipulate Herc. I'll send more if I think of it. He did not send it anymore. But Barrett.
What did Barrett have to say?
Barrett jumps in and says, I forgot how much fun Hercules is. It plays really fast and loose with the actual mythology. In Greek, the character is Hercules. Well, I didn't know that. I feel educated right now.
Nice.
Hercules? Or Hercules? How do you say that? I don't know. There's no pronunciation prompt for me. Anyway,
my wife has pains in her feet, and that's probably the result of her callus. But continue.
Wow.
You know, a pun's great when it shuts everything down. That's just the best.
I thought it was funny. You're calling out your wife having a callus, but that's interesting.
He goes on to say, I also have to say I was sexually attracted to the Meg character, even though she has a habit of jutting her hip out so hard that she's going to have permanent spine damage. Speaking of sexual attraction, the actors, not the character, very important. Oh, that's going on to the next one. Sorry, I'll stop there. Wow. I need to have like lines or something.
Yeah. More indication. When Barrett's writing on three things, you just need some stream of consciousness punctuation.
Sorry about that.
I will continue then. The only other one I had to mention after the nipple-centric sins, which I thought were all funny, were the White Christmas run. I thought was really fun. That's such a great, funny way to do that, where the first one really is White Christmas, and then like doing a callback that isn't really White Christmas, but it's just like, I don't know, that made me laugh quite a bit. You stole that from the Grinch. Discount Inside Out, I thought was really funny. And then, of course, the roller skating rink story, which is a true story.
Apparently, it's a true story.
So I think everybody has a roller rink story from our generation that starts, one time I was a kid, I went to a roller skating rink, insert story here kind of thing. Like it was just, it was a common birthday party, thing. There was always embarrassment. It was always a thing.
Well, I don't know about in Corona days, but I know like my daughter's been to a couple roller skating parties.
They exist.
They still happen.
They still exist. I DJ'd roller rinks for a while.
But it's not, it doesn't feel like it is what it was when we were younger.
Yeah.
I remember doing like, they would do like at ours where I grew up, they did like lock-in. This wasn't church related. They just did like lock-ins at the skate center where you could, they'd have where you locked in for the night. Yeah, good stuff.
I had a DJ service for about 5 years called Positive Spin.
Nice.
And so it was just, I did parties and roller rinks and some weddings.
In a positive way.
In a positive way. So yeah, Positive Spin Productions. Rest in peace.
You're out there, everybody, it's time to skate.
Yeah, you can hear it. Let's see. Jonathan, you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. I enjoyed The Gods Could Be Out Fucking a Giraffe or something. I thought that was very funny. I love the note. I love how they put in, has there ever been a trainer in a movie that agreed to help a protege after a first ask? Because that never has happened. I think that was a great observation. Everyone knows left-handed handshakes don't count. I thought was very funny. And then the only other thing I like that they took a sin off for the Greek chorus. I thought that was a really cool sin removal, because I thought that was justified. So
I think they said something like turning it on its old white head or something, which I thought was great. Yeah. Danae, what did you have?
I wrote down the teenage rejection is why we never heard about Jesus at this point in his life, which I thought was really funny. There was also a moment when an egg cracks and falls onto the satyr's head, or is he a little devil? I think he's a satyr. And it's opaque, and then as his forehead heats up, it turns white, and I was like, oh, they did it right in animation, because usually they don't. Usually, like, an egg is instantly white, but they got it right, and so I was really, really excited about that. Now, that wasn't actually in the Sins video, but
he is a satyr, right? Because they have that sin about him not having an erection,
right? I think that's true.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I have a player in my D&D game that I'm DMing right now who is a satyr, and so that made me very uncomfortable.
In real life? What is their D&D character?
I see that I probably wasn't as clear as I could have been.
They're a satyr playing a human. Can you just be a human?
Can you just be a human? My God. The other thing that I guess I'm just doing stream of consciousness thoughts a lot this week was
quote unquote, yes.
About 9.5 minutes in, there's this moment where we're hearing other characters kind of talk to each other, and one of the guys sounds just like the voice of Eeyore.
It's Tigger.
Or Tigger,
yeah, it's
something.
Tigger. It's the same voice guy. Yeah, it's Tigger.
Okay, I was like, why am I suddenly getting flashes of Winnie the Pooh? It's just
the voice of Tigger is one of the voices in Hercules. Which one?
Yeah,
the old guy.
I remember that.
It's the old.
Yeah. Sounds just like him. Yeah.
So that was unexpected and strange. To that point, I think sometimes we use interesting voices too much. Like, they can be in too many places, and I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that, because I'm thinking about like that blank guy. I don't know. Anyway.
So,
you think about Archer and Bob's Burgers?
Yeah, and some other ones that we're going to be having coming up too, that I'm like, can we just... we're hearing so much of this person.
Yeah.
And it's hard to separate them in my mind sometimes. But anyway.
Yeah. No, I agree. I understand what you're saying.
And if you're Tigger, you're just Tigger. You can't be an old angry man in Hercules.
Yeah.
Sorry, voice actor. No job for you. Yeah.
How dare you take other jobs?
That's right. How dare you?
He was also Winnie the Pooh's voice too. Tigger's voice and Winnie Pooh's voice are the same guy.
Okay.
Or have been.
I didn't know that.
So
yeah. Jim Cummings. He's incredible.
But I thought it was. I thought it was
that's
Eeyore.
Jim Cummings. That's right.
For whatever reason. Anyway, I love the joke about couldn't there be more Hercules? Like, there were 4 Jeremys. Was just funny to me. And then I need more Thunderbolts. First hurled problems.
Yes.
I had to stop the video. I was like, what?
Bring
it on. Oh my God. Who else on this team does this stuff? Everybody but me.
All right, on to Jennifer's Body. And that is a Hughes share script. So Danae writing on a horror movie. Danae, what is going on?
Well, the behind the scenes. Well, let me tell you how it is. What happened was, we were in a staff meeting a couple months back, and one of my bosses was like, hey, we want to do Jennifer's Body, but we really want to have a female voice on it. So, and you know, when you're on like a Zoom call or whatever, everyone's already looking at you, but you could feel everyone like really look at me. And I was like,
It was like when kids ask their parents if they can go over to a friend's house while the friend's standing there. You know, it's like, what am I supposed to say?
I clearly wasn't paying attention because I don't remember this conversation, so I was not looking at you.
It was intense because I was like, do I say no in front of everyone? So I said, let me think about it. And then I did research, and I learned that this in the horror genre world was not so intense. Like, this was actually a pretty light style.
It's a PG-13, right?
It's definitely R because it's gory. But okay. and there's cursing and subject matter and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I know what she's saying.
Yeah, and I went to about 5 websites. I went to several that just went over the entire plot in different ways, different people writing in different fashions, and got a pretty good idea of what was going to happen. And then I went to a couple sites that were essentially like, what's the gore level here? What am I getting into? And so I knew going in where the scenes that could be a little upsetting for me were going to be happening. And then I just, tried to either avert my eyes or just listen or whatever and not really pay attention to particular parts that could haunt me. Okay. So, and then I just kind of jumped in and did it. And it wasn't super difficult to do because there's a lot of stuff in this one that was just fun to pick at.
Did you like the movie?
Yeah, tell us what you thought about the movie.
I mean, I know it's not your kind of movie, but
I don't know. I thought that the acting was fine. Like, I don't really remember watching Megan Fox in anything. I know that she was in Transformers, and I think I saw that in the theater, but I blocked it because I was so angry with what I was seeing. So I think I've seen her before, but I don't remember thinking about her being an actor. But I thought she did great in this, and I thought the girl that played Needy did fine. So everyone that was acting, I thought that did a really good job. But maybe it was because I read a lot of blogs about it and even read some people's opinions on it, like why they love it so much, or even though XYZ is questionable. So I kind of went in even knowing some questions to have in mind about how this went terribly wrong. That because Jennifer wasn't a virgin when she wasn't killed, she essentially became the host body for a demon, succubus. But how that even just doesn't make sense as far as, okay, so is she a demon or is she a person? And so that was really one of the things that kind of just kept in my mind as I was watching this, just to see how that stuff would develop. So some of the stuff like that is just annoying to me. And we point out, I think we did a pretty good job of pointing those questions out in the script too. Like, okay, but why is she eating 2 people in 2 days and then going a month and getting sick? Like, it just, some of that stuff doesn't make any sense. But as far as a little thriller that you go and watch with your friends and, get the heebie-jeebies and watch, people kiss and fall in love and have the controversy of friendship, I think that it stands pretty well.
When this movie came out, I remember being excited about it because Diablo Cody wrote it, and I was a big Juno fan, and I was like, oh, cool, Diablo Cody's writing a horror movie. And then I like Megan Fox, even though she hadn't really done a whole lot at that point other than Transformers, but I thought she was interesting. And I love Amanda Seyfried. And is it Seyfried?
Yeah, Seyfried.
And Adam Brody from The OC plays the lead singer. So I was really interested in this. Karen Kushman is actually a really good director too. But I don't remember, I've only seen it the one time. I thought it was fine. This movie didn't do anything when it came out though. I don't even think people hated it. It just didn't do anything. Nobody really paid any attention to it. It was just kind of one of those things. And I think it was not marketed well. But over the last few years, I mean, this movie has taken on a whole new life, especially in the female horror fan community. I mean, it's put up there as loved and just adored, and that female horror fan community, man, that's an awesome community. I see you, I appreciate you, I love you.
I thought that this movie captured a couple of things really well for me. I had a relationship with someone that was really similar to this as far as the Needy Jennifer relationship goes, where except our stomping ground was church related, and kind of thank God that we didn't go to school together because she would have owned me in a way. I was Needy and she was Jennifer, right? She just had this power over me, and I had a hard time telling her no for many years. It got me into a lot of trouble, and we had a strange friendship bond where and that happened so much. That was one of the other in my reading, that was one of the things that people talk about, is that it does really touch on that particular part of friendship that develops over time, those sandbox friendships that, I mean, for me was so real that watching it, it was for me a symbolism of killing that bad relationship, literally kind of going, I'm going to kill this. This is unhealthy. And I have had to kill that relationship in a fashion from Danae's My Life multiple times over and over again, as I've said no to somebody who is, I mean, she just has this ability to make me do just some dumb shit. And now that I'm older, now that I'm an adult, it's not being able to say no. It's not having boundaries. It's worrying that someone's not going to like you anymore. It's fearing their backlash. It's being afraid of what someone's going to do or what they're going to tell people, if you don't do what they say to do. And so that part of it really rung true for me individually and based on what I read for others as well. I also thought then, and interaction between Needy and Colin was really sweet because it to me seemed like a valid high school style relationship that was just sort of like casual and just sort of becoming something, outside the demon thing that was going on. I just like their nuance in their conversation. So
yeah,
anyways.
I agree with you. I like the Amanda Seyfried character. Like she wasn't like a prude, right? She has sex, and
right.
I mean,
but how they even approached that was kind of like, this seems quote unquote realistic to me. Although watching teenagers have sex is really uncomfortable, and that scene goes on for quite some time.
But I wouldn't be surprised if what you're saying is. I agree with you on that. By the way, I wouldn't be surprised if what you're saying though rings true for a lot of the fans of the film, because having like a lot of female horror fans will talk about their teenage years and how hard it was, being a woman first off, and then being a horror fan second,
right.
And they'll, so I could definitely see it, which is sad. Like that's ridiculous. Like it sucks that, who cares what you're a fan of, but yeah, so I think that probably does ring true for a lot of, I think that's probably why this movie gets a lot of love, because it does tackle friendship in a really interesting way. That's what I remember taking from it.
Yeah. It was kind of fresh in a way. And I know, Aaron, you haven't said a lot. Have you seen this movie?
I have not. So I don't really have anything to add from watching the Sins video. I think I picked up on pretty much the point of it, and I understand what you all are saying. I will say it is Seyfried. Amanda Seyfried is
Seyfried. Thank you.
Seyfried.
I always say that wrong.
No, that's
I
fine.
do too.
It's also a really funny movie. Sorry, I was just gonna throw that out there too.
No, you're good.
It also has a lot of really funny moments. I love that part, and where Megan Fox is talking about like, I'm not even a virgin from the back end, which by the way hurts a lot.
Yeah. And again, I just thought how she delivered those lines was believable. Like she was really in character, and she was really fascinating to watch. There was a couple things that happened while I was sitting this that was interesting. There's this line when the guys are sacrificing her where they're like, dude, is that dude, that's a cool knife or whatever. And he's like, yeah, it's a Bowie knife. He's like, oh, Bowie, sweet. And I'm like wearing a David Bowie shirt as I'm watching it, like, whoa. But there's a couple times that guys are just completely motivated by horniness or the opportunity for sex. And I don't know, is that something that's real? That's just like the power of the boner is so strong that they're gonna, maybe go into the woods to fuck. Maybe I can see that one, but like going up to this pool, like those are the things I'm like, is this realistic? I don't know.
Now the pool, no.
Okay.
No, I don't. I mean, yeah, no. I would have a hard time turning down Amanda Seyfried or Megan Fox in high school. I'm not gonna lie, but
okay,
yeah, that pool would be a 100%.
Just weird.
We're gonna have to go to the car. Like something's gonna have to. No, the woods. Yeah, you could.
The woods, maybe.
The reality is, testosterone as a part of the hormonal makeup of the teenage boy is very strong, and that hormone is very much in charge of driving those sexual urges, those kind of things.
And your mind's not completely developed.
Correct.
Especially for dudes.
Right.
I will say I am the weirdo that was not guided by the power of boners. That was not something in my life that I prioritized. Like
Jonathan,
it was just.
You sound so disappointed. I know.
No, I'm not disappointed. I just know that about him. Like we've had enough conversations about sex. No, it's an awesome thing. I wish I had been a little more focused in high school.
Well, let me be clear about what I'm saying. It's not that I didn't have sexual desire and I was making out with girls, and I don't know how in depth you want me to go with the physical contact I had with women throughout my high school years, but I think
I can hear some people listen to the podcast going, well, give us the list, and some people going skip.
Right,
so I don't. Right. I think you got to follow your instinct.
Some people going,
here.
let me get my pants off first.
No, please don't. I mean, you do you, literally, I guess, but don't. No, the idea for me is not that I didn't have that desire that was driving me. It's more so that I think it's important to say it's not like a controlling thing. You still have free will. And for me, the priority was not going that far. The priority was not to enter into sexual relationships before I was married. That was my priority. And so I was able to do that. And, and so there is an element of humanness that you can go, yes, that is a huge drive. And yes, young men are that horny, but at the same time, that doesn't relieve them of the free will to go, this is a dangerous situation. This is, not a, you know what I mean? So like, it's not a switch where it's like, like, well, didn't have any choice. It's just more of, yeah, it's really strong. That's a really strong drive, but you're still human and you still have free will.
Yeah, and you're going, you're going through puberty. And there's so much stuff going on around that. Because I guess these kids are supposed to be like 16, maybe. That's my guess.
Probably, yeah. They're driving, so.
So I mean, you've probably already at least gone through a lot of the puberty. But I mean, it's still like like Aaron was talking about. There's a lot of physical stuff going on there. You're discovering your body.
Sure, yeah. So anyhow, I don't know if that helps, but I don't know if that kind of touches on your question today. But
it's a good discussion, just because I think this one for me, the reason that I kind of bring it up is more so because I found the relationship part of these two girls to be so realistic to my past that now I'm like looking at the guys going, wait, is this how it was for guys too? And maybe it was, and maybe it's not.
No,
like there's no,
but everybody's different too.
Yeah, everyone's different.
That's true. Mm-hmm. The pool thing is definitely like that's a horror set, right? I mean, they're trying to make it creepier. So
I have to say that setup was so cool. Like watching that scene, going, man, that set of the movie would be so interesting to like walk onto that set, because obviously like what a creepy place to shoot that particular scene with all the vines coming in and stuff. It was pretty neat looking.
I apologize. I just realized I'm not done talking about this. There is an element of this too that unfortunately, when we treat young men like caricatures that are just led by their hormones, we almost give them permission to be bad people in some situations. Like this is the boys will be boys mindset at its core. Is, well, he's a guy, of course he was going to do that. Like if you take that to its extreme level of the power of boners, well then you just give men permission to be jerks. But
in this scenario though, you've got Jennifer is telling them she wants them to come with her.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah,
I'm not.
That's what I'm answering.
Correct. And I'm taking it outside of this movie in saying that is the same mindset of course he's going to go hook up with her because he's a dude. Well, if it's just because he's a dude, that can forgive a lot of things that free will should have allowed that human to be a better human being. You know what I'm saying? Like that's so. Anyhow.
And I do think there has to be. I will say there has to be some form of attraction too. I would think. Like I don't think it's just anybody, but
but at the same time, like in this one at least, she kind of convinces Chip, who has been dating Needy this whole time and a pretty sweet kid, to just follow her to the pool. So that seemed out of character.
Yeah,
of all the things that happened in this movie, that one seemed the most forced. But of course, they're building up to this moment, and you understand why they're doing it. But it feels like Jennifer tells Chip that Needy had been cheating on him, and would that be an incentive to then immediately cheat, with Jennifer? And so it's just one of those things I think that you force in a movie that can have detriment if people believe that this is how you act.
These are the bunny trails that we love on this show, these kind of things. But I will say any appetite you have as a human can still be controlled by your free will. I can look at it the same as when we order pizza. I want to eat 7 pieces of pizza. Like I love it. Like that's an appetite. That's a desire. But free will allows me to go, you know what, 2's better for me. And
or I don't want to feel sick later.
Right. Yeah. Or I don't want to feel sick later, or here are some of the possible consequences of this action, which by the way is the same with sex. Here are some of the possible consequences of this action if I'm not prepared, if this breaks, or what I'm saying. So like it's the human's ability to go, here are my appetites, here are my desires, and still have the free will to go, but I get to decide how to interact with those appetites and desires. And I think we take that away from young men sometimes when we're like, well, he's a dude, of course he's going to have sex. You know what I mean?
You also understand consequences a lot more as an adult, right?
True.
Like you understand that if there's a difference in, like, if you're in your 30s or 40s and you're single or whatever, and you're agreeing to, have sex with somebody, not always, but sometimes, like, you can be aware of whether or not that is something that could be, could lead to a relationship or could lead to pregnancy or whatever it is.
Right.
There's I wouldn't even say consequences, because those are beautiful things. Those can be very beautiful things, relationships.
Yeah, consequences don't have to be negative.
No, they don't. So, but I mean, I think you have that train, but when you're like, but I will say when I'm 16, I'm not thinking about that. Like, that's not,
well, and that's scientific. That's scientific.
Yeah,
especially the
woman I'm attracted to wants me, that's more the
right. Well,
the mind process.
One of the very helpful things in parenting boys, I've got 4 of them, and have, parented all of them through at least the age 16. My youngest will be 16 this month. So one of the most helpful things I learned scientifically was that the last part of the brain to develop in a male adolescence is forethought, is the idea of actually thinking ahead to what something does. Mm-hmm. And that's, I've seen that. over and over again. They do not think of consequences or future or, they can, and they need to develop that. And again, the free will is still there, but no, that is a scientific thing. Like that is part of the brain that just, takes a while to develop, especially for young men. So yeah, I love this conversation. I'm ready to.
Some adult men too.
Me too.
Fair enough.
In my notes of just the writing process, and I know I wrote a lot, but I think it's because it's my first time to really watch a horror film. There was one more thing I wanted to mention, and that was just a nod to the movie, because so at the end, Needy decides that she's going to kill Jennifer. And so she does it while Jennifer is depleted of energy and can't regenerate, and she stabs her in the heart like she read in the book. And it's this intense moment. There's like this, when she yanks off the best friend, the BFF necklace, it does this weird thing. I understand the symbolism of it, so it's fine. But anyhow, it's like, so she stabs her, and as she's dying, I didn't notice it the first watch or the second watch, but on my third watch of the movie, they subtly changed the color of Jennifer's face back to more of a human color. I didn't even realize how much of the color had been adjusted, because I've been watching her as a demon for quite a long time. But the idea being that in her final breath, as the succubus dies, that Jennifer's body becomes her body again.
Yeah, it's kind of like a werewolf becoming human again once it's killed. I mean, yeah.
But it was so subtle. I missed it in the two previous watches, and I thought that was just a nice kind of like thing that I missed. So anyway,
I will say one thing I don't like about the structure of this movie, though, is I really don't like that opening, because knowing that she's in that scenario, knowing that she's in that institution or prison or whatever. I mean, there's no surprise at the end of the movie. Yeah,
that's so true. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it kind of ruins it.
It does, because the moment whenever the mom, this movie does something else that was just really hard to watch, but it also made it real. And they really didn't shy away from showing parents reacting to their children's dying, the children's death. There was the fire that took people away. Then there's the football player that Jennifer killed in the woods, and the parents' reaction. Then there was Colin's death. And then, at the end, I mean, this brutal moment when Jennifer's mom runs in to see that her daughter was just murdered, even though she has no idea that her daughter was actually pretty much dead or whatever already. So I had to be like, whoa, God, like, oof, trying not to put myself into the parents, mindset, because now I'm a parent, so it's really hard to do. But they didn't shy away from that. They didn't shy away in that moment from letting it get real, where Needy is just like laying beside her best friend that she just killed. And then, yeah, what a shock that would have been to then see her go into the mental institution. You're absolutely right. That would have been a much better kind of shift.
Yeah, totally. What did Bear have to say?
Danae was a delight to write with. Her script was aces. Let me go back and find it. Sorry, hold on a second.
No, that's
it's
fine.
In the middle
I
of the
believe
Hercules
that. I believe that is what he said.
Right, whatever. Okay. Oh, speaking of sexual attraction, remember what I said before? Of the actors, not the characters. Very important. Jennifer's body fucks. Wow, I didn't read this before now. That's a shock. Okay. Very sexy, very campy, very Diablo Cody. I don't think Megan Fox gets enough credit for what she did there. She's legitimately good in this movie, playing a lot of different aspects of the role. The story itself is besides the point, I think, because there are some very big plot holes, huge gaping plot holes, but it's fun. And the kid from Scott Pilgrim is there. Adam Brody is a smug asshat, and the music is fucking rad. So that is
a good song. I agree with Barrett on that. That is a very good song.
Absolutely. That was kind of a little unexpected part. And I can see how watching this, knowing that the twist is going to be that the band is the reason that she's a demon. That's an interesting reveal, right?
You can 100% tell, though, that is not Adam Brody singing that song. Like, there is nothing about that performance that makes you believe that he's singing that song. But it's still a good song.
I'll lead us into the sins. Spelling blonde with an E made me laugh quite a bit. I love those little things. Leaving your mailbox open in a small rural town. I don't know if you would qualify us as living in a small rural town, but my mailbox has been having a difficult time closing recently.
Mine too.
And it will stay open. And
wait, what? All three of us are having mailbox staying open issues?
Yeah, it's the demons. It's obviously the demons.
Well, I think it's just our mail person won't make sure it's shut.
Oh, okay.
and I will say, as someone who is tall, when I reach into the mailbox, I can't see what's in there. And so I have had a couple times recently where I go out there and I reach in and I'm like, what are you doing? There could be anything. This has been open.
Yeah.
So that thing about spiders and snakes or whatever, I was just like, yeah, thanks a lot for that. I was already leaning that way.
Sorry about that. I'm sorry about that.
Then the love of the sandbox dies. Loved that whole sin about the sandbox. That
actually has happened to me when I was a kid, finding cat poop in the sandbox.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's not how trademarks work. Very funny. Lady Cotton, which we talked about, buttoning only this button on the shirt. You would know in a huge share script that somebody's going to write a button sin. It's going to be in there somewhere. So
that was ridiculous, though.
And then a demon would never reference Jesus. They're not on good terms. Made me laugh a lot. And finally, anatomy lessons. Just that whole sin. It was beautiful to be as well. What about you, Jonathan?
Your star is a 21st Century Fox. I thought was really funny. I had the trademarks one as well. I liked how you guys talked about how the toilet, like if you were confused about what kind of film this was, that toilet will confirm it's a horror film.
I was surprised there wasn't a sin for the stickers actually sticking on that toilet. No sticker would stick to that toilet. It would immediately come off.
I think at some point the stickers just became part of the toilet.
Well, I'm just saying, how'd you get them on there in the first place? That's all I'm saying.
Oh, that's fair. I know she's a succubus, but she ain't the Flash. I thought was really funny. And would a succubus seriously sit through a second period biology class?
Yeah, that was
right?
good.
I'm not entirely sure this is how you get a cop in your back pocket was really funny. Demon squirts, I just thought was hilarious. Terminology and succubus hands are swimming with bacteria was probably my favorite sin.
Nice.
I liked all the succubus sins. I don't know, you guys. I don't know, they were well done.
Yeah, we had to research a lot about succubi apparently.
Mm-hmm. I think technically succubuses, but yeah, continue on.
No.
Danae, what about you?
Oh my gosh, I liked so much about this one.
Yeah, it's a great script.
I do love that, like in the script combine process, when Barrett is sinning about Chris Pratt being in there, I was like, Chris Pratt's in this movie? I had to go back and watch and be like, oh look, it's Chris Pratt.
Yeah, that was surprising because I didn't remember that, so that was very surprising to see.
The pop quiz for which creature would stick around to lick up dead people blood. I didn't really want to do research on this one, so I didn't. But I was so shocked the deer was the one that stuck around and not the fox. Mm-hmm. It was super.
I will say, you were talking about with guys, I would be concerned not about the woods, but when all those animals were surrounding us, that would have been a red flag. I would have been like, right? I think I need to go do something else.
It's weird. Yeah, something is happening here.
I think that might have deflated a boner or two.
I enjoyed the washing the blood off of your clothes, or the clothes are magically resistant to plot holes. Mm-hmm. There's also like a moment where Barrett kind of helped me piece this together. I sent him an impartial one. It's like, I'm trying to figure out a way to sin the fact that Jennifer never addresses how she feels about being killed. Like, she's listening to all these people praise this band and she just reacts so blandly. And so I liked how we kind of approached that whole idea, and even Needy's crazy visions of death and bleeding ceilings and why she would remain horny at all. One of the ones I love that Barrett wrote was the one about the moon, when the guys are like, oh, it's a good thing that the moon is right. He's like, well, you should have figured that out. Like, but the way that's like, it'd be extra shitty if they waited until it was like waning or something.
Yeah.
I don't know why that cracked up. It's weird sometimes. I'm like, why is this one making me laugh so hard? Like the moose hoof joke or the diaper baby joke. But one of my favorite ones that he wrote was the a blade to the heart is the surest way to kill the beast. And his sin was, or really anyone, right? Just that sort of calm approach to, that'd work for most people. So
yeah, that's good stuff.
It was a lot of fun. It was a good one.
It's a great video. Let's move on to keeping tabs.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies and share pornography with one another.
Oh, jeez.
This is the most public yet of my many humiliations.
We're going to take a look at some of the research we did, or sins we deleted, or notes that we gave each other. We've already been kind of talking about those a little bit. Yeah. Danae, why don't you start us off? What's your keeping tab this week?
I'm going to go as fast as I can, but I've got 3 that I looked up for Jennifer's body. First was the mystery of Devil's Kettle Falls, which was really, really interesting because obviously the movie opens up with an explanation as to why their town is called Devil's Kettle. There's a waterfall where part of it goes like a regular waterfall, and the other one goes into this really crazy whirlpool. And things that go down inside of it, quote unquote, don't come out. And so it's obviously insanely dangerous. And so anyway, there's several articles that I found, but one on treehugger.com, The Mystery of Devil's Kettle Falls, was super intriguing to me. And basically the super quick gist of it is that they think that the water comes out so fast down below that they're not able to track it, because it's just like it does come out somewhere, but it's not always clear how quickly it gets downstream. But yeah, it's a really dangerous situation and really fascinating. So that was kind of an interesting, like, oh, nature, you're scary kind of a thing. I also wanted to just encourage everybody to not research Tampoon. Very uncomfortable.
Fair enough.
That's a really quick one. My favorite one, though, was the Cheesecake Factory situation, where I actually did research the nearest Cheesecake Factory to Devil's Kettle town and saw that it was in Minnetonka. And then I actually called the Cheesecake Factory and asked if somebody had enough time to tell me
the history
when they opened. They were like, could you hold, please? And then the very confused person came back and said that the manager had said they opened in 2017. There's actually 2 in the area, and she confirmed that they both opened about the same time in 2017. And she's like, can I do anything else for you today? And I was like, nope, that's it. I didn't even tell her why I was calling or anything.
Next time you do call research, I want you to get their permission to record them at the beginning before you even ask them anything, and then I want you to actually use their recording in the script and have the narrator ask them the question. I think that would be hilarious to actually like have the narrator do a phone call to confirm a sin that they're writing.
Like, hold on one second.
we shift into this NPR vibe where it's you're hearing it happen, or we do like a live reenactment kind of a thing. We just that's not nearly as fun.
Yeah.
I did love that I went into like our Slack chat and I did say that I definitely just called the Cheesecake Factory to find out when they open for a script, and then just everybody responding to it was a lot of fun, because obviously we all know as writers the research that goes into it. And Jeremy said that he's never called someone to verify a sin before, and that's when I was like, oh wow, maybe I did something weird, and then I was feeling I maybe did something crazy, like too crazy, but the reaction was a lot of fun. So
that's good stuff. Jonathan, what about you?
I didn't really do any. I didn't really have anything I looked up for the two.
You didn't call a Cheesecake Factory?
No, I didn't. I didn't call and ask them about Watchmen. What's your opinion on Watchmen? But I did. I got something wrong last week, so I guess I'll talk about that here. I got called. Well, I get called out, and I knew. Like, we started talking about Amityville last week. I knew I said. I had a weird feeling I said something wrong, and then I found out because at JetsMets1448, who always is fun because he listens to our episode on Thursday morning and always like has like a thread of tweets.
Yeah,
I wake up every Thursday to his thread, just being like, here's all the things from your podcast.
He's super nice guy. I've talked to him a lot about sports and stuff. But I said Amityville, New Jersey. I said it was a town in New Jersey. It's actually on Long Island. So I got that. You messed up, JoJo Nathan, and so I did want to correct that because I don't know why I said New Jersey, and it was so weird. I had this feeling. I didn't want to take the time to look any of it up, but I just had this feeling I got something wrong.
Nice.
Maybe it was the ghosts that were, I don't know. But
the ghosts of Amityville creeping around in your brain.
We're gonna come get me. By the way, there's like 30. There's almost 30 movies, because what I found out was that Amityville can't be trademarked because it's a town.
Oh, weird.
So like you can call your movie Amityville. And there's nothing about it that can be copyrighted. So you can just be like, I'm going to make a movie and call it the Amityville Haunting or whatever, so there's actually like 27, 28 of these movies, and it's weird. But anyways,
I wanted to talk a little bit about the research I did on the Tulsa Race Massacre that is the inciting incident in the Watchmen series. And if you remember in the video, the sin is this actually happened, and it gives infinity sins, and then we take those infinity back because the show deals with race in such a meaningful way. But what has amazed me the most about this is how many people I've heard say, including myself, that they never knew this happened until they saw it in Watchmen. And I am the same way. I had no clue about this. We don't learn about this kind of stuff. Literally, there is a very rich black neighborhood in Tulsa that a white mob intentionally went and just destroyed, killed people. They used air airplanes. They just went to war on this section of town where these black people were being successful. The area of that part of Tulsa was called Black Wall Street, so sometimes this will be called the Black Wall Street Massacre. And yet it's something. It's been called the worst incident of racial violence in American history. The confirmed dead are around 40 to 50. I think the confirmed dead is 46, but the estimated dead is more like 150 to 300. It's hard to confirm, because they didn't go back and study this until 1996. 1996 was when they finally decided, hey, let's go back and try to figure this out, what happened. So it happened on Memorial Day in 1921. It stemmed from an accusation of a young black man assaulting a white woman in an elevator. There is no confirmation that actually happened. It appears that maybe those two were actually friends, and that something else, might have happened that somebody heard. And so then it just, kind of escalated from there. And then they just decided we're just going to completely destroy this section of town and kill all these black people. And
God, that many people getting together and deciding to do that. That's still like it's hard enough to imagine one person having that much hate, but just the idea that you could gather that many people together, and sadly still can, maybe not to that extent, but in different ways.
I'm just gonna read you this paragraph it's the last paragraph on it from the Wikipedia article, because it's about a commission that they did to figure kind of things out. It says in 1996, 75 years after the massacre, a bipartisan group of the state legislature authorized formation of a commission to study the Tulsa race riot. Members were appointed to investigate events, interview survivors, hear testimony from the public, and prepare a report of events. There was an effort toward public education about these events through the process. The commission's final report, published in 2001, so this is 19 years ago, said that the city had conspired with the mob of white citizens against black citizens. So the city itself was actually involved in making this happen, according to this commission. It recommended a program of reparations to survivors and their descendants. The state passed legislation to establish some scholarships for descendants of the survivors, encourage economic development of Greenwood, and develop a memorial park to the massacre victims in Tulsa. The park was dedicated 10 years ago in 2010. In 2020, this year, the massacre finally became part of the Oklahoma school curriculum. This year, they finally said, you know what, maybe we should put this in the history books. And it's just, it also says the last male survivor of the massacre died August 18th, 2020. So it's just like...
He just died. He just passed away.
I'm trying to think of anything to compare that to. That's, especially in the 20th century,
Yeah. And it's just...
That's insane.
It is a testament to so many things that are so much deeper than we have time to talk about on this podcast. But I did want to say, in doing that research after this show kind of brought that to light and put that event, kind of as the inciting incident in its show, it's just such a reminder that, there are just things we don't know that are, we should have been told.
Well, what else do we not know?
Right. Yeah. So anyhow, wanted to pass that along. I think it's valuable. As always, do your own research, look up your own information in places you trust. But yeah, I wanted to kind of bring a little bit more light to that. Let's move on to the comment section.
I want to know what you're thinking.
I appreciate your honesty. You're a real straight shooter.
You are the ones who are the ball lickers.
We're just going to talk about a comment from the week's stuff. Could be from the YouTube comments, could be from Twitter, could be from Discord, could be from emails, whatever the case may be. I'll start us off. This is my favorite comment in a long time. You guys may have had it as well. In the Hercules, Nicholas Evans says, in Hercules, the animated series, Herc goes to school at Prometheus Academy. So he's actually the only character in all of CinemaSins history who literally did go to the Prometheus School of running away from things.
Oh my God.
That's hilarious.
I love that so much. Yeah, that's good stuff. What about you guys?
I think mine is from Watchmen, but it's not about the show specific, so it could be from the other show I did, Adventure Time, but I think it was Watchmen. But anyways, it was Lucid, and he just said, "Please, for God's sake, can someone tell me why they didn't call the channel TeleviSins?" And first off, I think we would have always done TV Sins because it goes along with.
It was definitely an option. It was definitely mentioned at the beginning.
I don't remember that. Yeah, and I never like television, but putting sins on the end. I was like, I just had never really thought about it. If it was, I had forgotten that we had talked about it.
The three that I put out there as options at the beginning were telesins, televasins, and TV sins. And I could probably find the email.
That's good to know. Yeah, I don't remember the televasins until I read it here. So it's been a couple years now. So
and I think we all were very clearly like, no, it's TV sins. TV sins just feels punchier. It feels right. So I think it was a pretty quick decision.
It kind of fits with the other two better.
Yeah.
But that is a good pun. I like that. That's a good titling. Yeah. And Aaron did suggest it.
I did. Danae, what do you got?
Well, I'm going to start off this comment by reading the sin from Jennifer's Body, which is the leaving your mailbox open in a small rural town. Don't you know this is how birds build nests? Or snakes? And just the way that it was written, Dumahim says, birds can build snakes? I knew I hated birds for a legit reason and just didn't know for sure why.
That's funny.
Oh, that's great. That's so good.
And also from that one, Yui-chan says, ugh, gum chewers. Who does this guy think he is? Me is chewing gum. Wait, what? What? And then spits gum out. I love the visual ones.
Feeling judged.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move into Beyond the Sins.
To infinity and beyond.
Somewhere beyond my wild history.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
We're each going to chat about something else from the world of pop culture we've seen recently. I'm going to kick us off talking about Fargo. I finally have gotten through my MTV's The Challenge binge, and I'm watching other things now, so it's fun in my life. And so I've gotten around to watching the first couple episodes of the new season of Fargo.
Well, hold on. Have you watched every episode of MTV's The Challenge?
All 35 seasons over the course of about 2 months. Yeah.
Christ.
I know, right? It's a lot. He talked about it on the Morning DNA recently. It was like what he asked the question on the show, like, what's your
world
content
record,
your world record binging content, and isn't that insane?
Yeah.
But he says it's on in the background a lot too, so it's not just like he's not 100% focused.
Yeah, it's not a show you need to focus on. So Fargo, however, is a show that rewards focus, and I think I dig Noah Hawley's sense of style. I just think I really dig how he visualizes things. I felt the same way about Legion. I felt the same way about a lot of his stuff. And I always forget between seasons of Fargo how much I like the aesthetic of it. And so I started watching this one and I was just like, oh yeah, I really like it. It always feels so fresh to me. And we're just getting into the story. I'm only 2 episodes in, so I can't really comment on necessarily how brilliant the story is. The acting seems fine to me, but it hasn't been, super brilliant. But just the aesthetic of it just draws me in. And so I'm really enjoying the new season of Fargo. And I'll just say every season of Fargo is the recommendation because I think it's incredible.
I really enjoyed the first 3. I haven't seen these first 2 episodes yet. I'm going to watch them soon. So I'm excited. I like this Chris Rock career thing that's going on here. Like I kind of feel like he's coming back and doing some interesting things. Like he's doing this, and then we're not getting it until next year now, but he did a Saw movie that he came up with, which is super interesting to me.
Yeah.
Even if you don't like Saw, like I'm just like Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson are doing a Saw movie.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see where all this is leading. It seems like he's got some interesting stuff in the work, which is really cool because I like Chris Rock. So
yeah. So check out Fargo. Any of the seasons. A reminder that this is an anthology show. Every season is a new story. Although they interact in some fun, like winky ways every once in a while. And I wonder if this will be like a universe building thing where we get to Fargo season 6 and it's like all the seasons combined to build to a play. Because there are some like world crossing between the seasons.
There definitely is. And I heard that I still remember that first season where they had like maybe 3 or 4 episodes in, you found out where you were like in comparison to the movie. Like that was still one of my all-time favorite TV reveals.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't even thinking about the movie. I just thought this is a show, right?
Right.
But they tied it in. But then I did hear that this one, even though I've heard from everybody you could watch this without having seen the previous seasons, this one ties in somewhat to like there's like a character in season 2 or something, I believe, or there's something in season 2 that this is like almost a prequel to, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the seasons
I don't think
have
that's giving anything away.
No. The seasons have a fun way of doing that. So
yeah,
but they are anthologies, so technically you could watch each season just on its own, and
they have their own individual.
They have their own story. Yeah. So, what about you, Danae?
I'm going to talk about one of my favorite reality TV shows that I
The Challenge.
They
35 seasons of The Challenge. That's amazing, Danae. How'd you do that?
No, it's called Worst Cooks in America. I don't know if you guys have watched this before. It's a hilarious show for good reason. I don't think I've talked about this before. Have I?
I don't think so.
Gosh, I'm sorry if I have. Maybe I've just talked to someone about this recently, and so me saying what I'm about to say is very familiar and recent, so apologies. But anyway, what makes this show, to me, extra great is the production. The editors, when they're putting this together, have a lot of fun. So it's like if someone does something silly and they're like, I feel like I'm on a weird talk show, they'll like superimpose their head onto a talk show and have funny stuff happening, and then they just then they go back into the show. So it's like the show has its own character through the editors getting to be snarky and funny and strange. They poke fun of the hosts of the show too. The premise, if you don't know about it, is that there's two judges, Anne Burrell, who's a really famous chef on like the Food Network or whatever, and then she always has like another judge that kind of cycles in, who is one of usually the Food Network's like popular chefs, and they each have two teams of cooks that are just like, they're terrible cooks. They don't know how to cook for whatever reason, and they're teaching them how and looking for good skills, and then by the end they only have one person left on their team, and then they cook a meal for really high palate individuals who choose which one has the best one, and then they win $25,000. That's kind of the quick premise. Mm-hmm. But Anne Burrell is like she's the rock of the show. She's the one that's constantly on the show. And then the guest judges are or coaches rather, that kind of come in, are like they're surprising and shocking and often very, very fun. Like Rachel Ray, Bobby Flay. The last one that I watched had Alton Brown, and it was not great because to me, Alton, he was just an asshole the whole time, and he kind of set his team up for failure. He's almost like he felt like he was too good for the show.
I don't even know who that is. Is he just a chef?
All I know is he has the world's greatest Thanksgiving turkey recipe that we've used like every Thanksgiving, and it's so good. That's all I know. Literally all I know about him.
He's not a chef. He is like, he's like a food critic or something.
Gotcha.
I'm going to get messages about that, but I don't think he's technically a chef. He's a host of a lot of shows, and he's got a really advanced palate. But the one that joined her this time, the guest judge this time, is Alex. I don't know how to say her last name. Guarnaschelli. I don't know how to say her last name. She was a delight. It was a breath of fresh air back on the show to have someone that's just having a good time and is shocked by the kitchen mayhem that is happening in front of her from these people who, to put it, in the first episode, someone puts an entire chicken into a pot of boiling water and then takes scissors and starts cutting into the chicken so that, quote, the water gets into the chicken faster. And so the people they do the most insane stuff in the kitchen. It makes you feel like a good cook at home, maybe, and or gives you a sense of hope that you might be able to learn how to cook someday too. And it's just fun. And like I said, for me, what makes it is the editing process. So I would recommend it. It's just a fun, silly watch called Worst Cooks in America. It is on Food Network.
Jonathan?
I think I'm actually going to change and talk about something different than I was going to after you brought that up, because I watched the first episode. I have not watched it this week. So, Aaron, if you've seen this, please don't spoil it.
Okay.
But there's a new show on After Masked Singer called I Can See Your Voice. Have you watched this, Aaron?
No, I haven't.
You really should. This show is ridiculous. So the first episode, at least, I don't know if this is going to change, but so Dr. Ken, what is his last name?
Ken Jeong, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, Ken Jeong. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, and he is actually a doctor. So he hosts this show, and it's like, so what they do is they get like, they have a person competing for $100,000, and they put 6 people in front of them. You don't know how many, but some of them have a bad voice and some of them have a good voice. So some of them can sing really well and some of them can't sing. And the idea is that at the end of you eliminating them, you have a good singer. Mm-hmm. And if you have a good singer at the end, you win $100,000. You you also, though, while it's going on, you win $10,000 for every bad singer you eliminate. And then at the end, you basically have to make a decision. Do you want to risk all the money you've already won and hope that you actually picked a good singer? Because you don't know how many are which.
So basically, this is random chance because you cannot tell if somebody's a good singer by what they look like.
I recommend this in the sense that, like, if you just enjoy silly stuff like this, like I do, I think you'll have a blast with this. Let's say, Aaron, you'll like this. But they have a judge. They have not judges, but they have a panel of actual singers. So, like, in the first episode, they had, like, Nick Lachey was up there. I'm trying to remember who else was. It's not just singers, though, because they also had, which she might be able to sing, but they also had, what's her name from Curb Your Enthusiasm, his wife on Curb Your Enthusiasm. Aaron is like me. Whenever you say something, you can't remember who it is.
No, yeah, you put me on the spot. I'm never going to remember. I have to look it up every time. If I was just thinking about Curb Your Enthusiasm, I might remember her name, but...
It's Cheryl Hines. And so they had, like, Cheryl Hines and, like, Nick Lachey. And then they had one singer, I didn't know who she was. And then they had Arsenio Hall, I think was the other guy. So anyways, they're up there. So they're helping the contestant. Like, they're helping them, like, when they hear the answers to these questions and stuff like that. And, like, they have, like, these different things that they let you witness. Like, they have this one section where 3 of them will do they'll lip sync to karaoke, and it could be their voice or it could be somebody else's. So, like, they'll watch how they're actually performing and let you know if that looks like a legit singer.
See, now we're getting a little beyond random chance. Now there is some logic. It is a little beyond.
Yeah, it is a little beyond. But I will say, in the first episode, the woman at the end, when she has really no basis of anything to risk all the money on. So it's kind of crazy how it ends up going the way it goes. But I know it's funny, man. It's so dumb, but, like, so is Masked Singer, and I enjoy that. So which I'm also watching that new season of that's going on, by the way. If you want to lose your mind in something that's not, like, hellish, watching Masked Singer is kind of fun. But I Can See Your Voice. It's like it's a recommend if you like stupid singing contest shows like that. Although it's more like a game show. Yeah. It's really more of a game show.
No, it sounds wonderful. If I had told you at the beginning of the episode that for Beyond the Sins, 2 out of the 3 of us would be recommending reality competition shows, and that the one who didn't was me, you'd have never believed us.
Never. That is funny. It is like Worst Cooks in America it's just a silly, dumb show.
Yeah.
It's kind of what we're all in the mood for right now. It's kind of what we're all in the mood for right now. Yeah, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think it's just what you lean towards. Like, if you lean towards cooking shows, like, I think that makes sense. If you lean towards singing competitions, like, that's kind of why I'm more into that. Because I don't know, cooking shows, like, watching people cook for some reason I can't wrap my head around.
Yeah.
But a lot of people love them. I mean, I know they do. So
yeah.
Top Chef is like, what, season 30 or something? Yeah, why don't you go binge that, Aaron?
Yeah, Aaron.
Top Chef?
Yeah.
I started that binge, and in fact, when I went into the challenge binge, I was in season 7 of Top Chef. So if you want to combine Top Chef and the challenge, I've watched 42 seasons of reality television.
You just got to go back to Top Chef, or you gave up on it?
No, I did not give up on it. I want to go back to it, but I kind of want to catch up on some recent TV because some has piled up in the last 3 months. And then
every week there's something coming out.
Then I'll go back to my Top Chef binge and get all the way caught up on that. So yeah, welcome to my sickness. That's going to do it for Behind the Sins this week. Don't forget to make sure you're subscribed. Go ahead and leave a comment or rating as well. You can hang out with us on Twitter. We're at CinemaSins BTS on Twitter. I'm at Aaron Dicer. She is at Danae Says.
DENEESAYS.
And he is at Sam Loomis 13. So for Jonathan Watkins, Danae Hughes, and myself, we'll spell you next week.
You can also write to us at Behind the Sins, P.O. Box 881, Republic, Missouri 65738.
Thanks for listening. Send any feedback to bts@cinemasins.com. And be sure to subscribe, rate, and comment. Find more ways to connect by visiting cinemasins.com/BTS.
I'm so late. Oh, buddy, I am so late to the show. Run. I'm gonna do this thing. Oopsie doopsie poopsie. Don't stop.
Because that's just like when you're dealing, with somebody that just won't, let up. You just...
All right, no more politics talk. Danae's here. No more politics talk.
Politics? I figured you guys would maybe cover some sports conversation while I was gone.
What you're saying, Danae, does speak to the fact that we do see this as a narrative. We see it as like a reality show or a story, or a lot of people do, I should say.
Well, especially since it's him.
Well, so it's very easy once you've established the villain in the show to root for their death or root for, if you're in a narrative, if you're in a story, then you don't see it as human. Yeah.
What if next year, assuming he doesn't win, what if next year all of a sudden like NBC releases a show called Trump in the White House, and this whole time that's what it's been.
Just reality TV. And then it's just like, I don't know what's real anymore. Kind of like your tweet, Jonathan. It's like, I don't know what's real anymore. I'm just going to do my best to make sure that whatever information I'm processing in my spirit, like not even my brain, but in my spirit, that I'm trying to be a good, loving human being, because that's what's going to change culture.
Yep.
So
agree. 100% agree. Can't stop hoping. Can't stop hoping. Can't stop loving each other. Can't stop pursuing truth, even though truth seems so fragile today. Like,
absolutely.
You can't stop having reasonable conversations about what is and isn't true, because we know truth exists. We know things are real or aren't real, but our ability to process them is limited. That's just being human. I think as reasonable human beings, we can come together and say, it's probably 95% chance it's a real thing.
It's an interesting theory.
Because, but interesting theories lead to conspiracies, and conspiracy mind is something we are all apt to, and it's okay. It's a very human thing, but we have to keep pursuing actual truth. Otherwise, we're just yelling. Otherwise, we're just yelling opposing conspiracies at each other, and that's not helpful.
My conspiracy theory is that CinemaSins never actually hired a woman, and Danae is a man.
Well, hey, Danae, you're the only one that can disprove that, and I'm not suggesting any kind of way to do that. I'm just saying, maybe a birth certificate.
A birth certificate. I can make one of those on the internet.
I'm sorry if this is an uncomfortable avenue to pursue this line of thinking, but Danae being a man versus being a woman. But you really think about that in today's age of technology.
I'm gonna be thinking about Danae being a man for a while.
Sure. How would you prove it, Danae? How would you prove it? And I'm not saying we don't have to get super interpersonal.
Are
but
you
even
saying the penis could be fake?
That's what I'm saying. You can fake pictures. You can fake video. You can fake that is the power of conspiracy. The power of conspiracy is you literally can't do anything that I won't be able to say. Well, that's doctored. That's fake. That's not true. That is the power of conspiracy, and it's just.
Oh yeah, because it could be like, hey, come with me to the doctor's office, and with the doctor and live video feed, we're gonna prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that Danae is a female or a male. And then I get into a machine, they do the machine scan, but then they'd be like, oh, she's super David Blaine right now, and she's not really in there, man.
Right? Yeah.
And then or they'd be like, oh, this is the deep, what is it called?
Deep fake.
This is deep fake. Whatever's being broadcast is deep fake. It would literally be the people in the room would have to just agree, okay, we're the only ones that are ever going to believe this. It's like the Jesus situation.
The Jesus situation.
Wow, that went somewhere.
Okay, go with me here. The apostles and the people around Jesus, right? They're seeing him do this crazy stuff, and they're like, no one is going to believe this. Who would believe that this stuff is happening? And then they go out there, they live their lives, and they're really adamant. This is real. Jesus really did this stuff.
A lot of people don't believe we're making jokes. We write jokes. So, I mean, I don't know what to do anymore.
Speaking of miracles, we write jokes.
I thought you were going to say we were going to start talking about Jesus's gender and whether or not Jesus was a man or a woman.
I still think it's interesting. She went from I might have a penis to it's just like Jesus.
Which rhyme? What is going on?
Wait, did you just insinuate that Jesus rhymes with penis?
They both end with S, so count.
Okay, fair enough.
I listen to rap songs. I know.
Yeah, there's a lot of rappers that would make that work.
Your period conversation is all over the Jennifer's Body script.
Oh yeah, we talk about tampons.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, there's at least 2 sins in there that deal with
I
periods.
thought you were making a joke that there were periods that Danae wrote.
I know. It's like
actual
okay,
period. I
I
just assumed it was a pun of some sort.
like so many ellipses. It's just thousands of them.
I'm sorry. Danae refuses to use any punctuation other than the period. That's how feminist she is. She won't use question marks.
To be fair, after last week, anything you say, as far as I'm concerned, may be a pun. So I'm gonna be on alert.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I've also noticed how Danae and I both, I feel like more than anyone in this crew, on our notes, we're very train of thought, like stream of consciousness with our notes. So when we both do a script, it's hilarious. Like all of a sudden I wrote some story about me and my sister yesterday. I have no idea. And then after I put that in there, I'm like, why did I tell her that?
No, I loved it. You're like. So, anyways, I like mess with my sister and she messed with me, but we get along great now. And I'm like, this is so cool.
It's a happy ending. No, but I was trying to explain my train of thought why I was
super makes sense. I loved it.
Is it possible you two are the extroverts on the team? Is that it? Like you two like crave like social interaction that way, and so even the notes of a script is a good place to like.
I just feel like I can never explain myself enough. I don't know what that means. I think that's my problem.
He and I both have crippling issues. We have crippling self-doubt. We need to reassure each other a lot.
How interesting is it that I was just thinking about this? Have we talked about this? That the 3-channel narrators right now all have wonderful names for portmanteauing narration. You've got barration, geration, and aeration.
Oh, wow. No.
How does that happen?
Yours is the only one that's an actual word, though.
That's true. Aeration is a word. Yes.
Isn't it? That's right, isn't it?
Yes. Sometimes after I go for a run, I need to take off my shorts for a little aeration.
Oh, there you go. I mean, it wouldn't be spelled the same, but it's technically a word.
You guys, I did something kind of brave. I don't know if it's brave. It might have been stupid. I don't know. I sent an email to the A-team yesterday because it was my 1-year anniversary, just saying like, hey, I just remember a year ago today, this is what I was feeling and this is what my hopes were. And I really appreciate, the opportunity to work with you guys. And, the 3 main areas I get to kind of be part of your team, both as the writing part, the logistics part, and then, doing the show. Everything's going so well for me. I just really appreciate it. But I wrote, it was a little wordy.
Did you put P.S. I won't tell anybody I'm actually a man? Did you put that at the bottom of the email?
That was actually in the subject to get their attention to read it.
Fair enough.
Also, Jonathan and his sister get along now. In case you were concerned.
But at the very end of the email I wrote, realizes that I've written a lot and then just like, okay, bye. And I just ended the email and sent it. So they all respond politely in the thread, which is really kind and everything. And I get a direct message from Barrett and it just says, yeah, that was too many words.
That's funny.
And I just wrote back 100%. Yeah, it was.
That's amazing. Danae, would you like to do a show? Would you like to do a podcast? That was, you know what? This is going in the outtakes for sure, 100%. But it will not be the same as if you had just seen what Danae did. Her back was completely turned to the microphone. I went Danae and she did a full speed head whip to the microphone. It went.
I know, that was funny.
It was great.
Oh my God.
All right, here we go.
And we're Jonathan just watches us like, what the hell?
Who are these weird people I have to work with?
Like you were being crushed, and Aaron's like, "No, the show has to go on." So
it does.
Aaron and I were just doing the show with you. Like
your head is now pinned. Your head is now pinned, Danae, between 2x4s. I don't care. Your mic's right there.
I like the scene.
Every now and then, it would just be Danae going, "Help me, please! I'm in so much pain." Be like Will Ferrell,
and,
Austin Powers.
I believe
I got stuff to do. Let's
broken. Go. One of my feet may be separated. There's blood, lots of blood. I think that was a pretty good Will Ferrell impersonation, if I do say so myself. All right. We got to do this. I'm still
Jonathan, you have incredible power. You just said we needed to do, and then Aaron and I.
He's my robotic monkey.
Jonathan wants to play. Danae,